Spokesman for North South Raila Odinga, senior and communications director,
senior advisor, spokesman.
You know what the last is saying?
Yes.
This guy is old. Senior.
So the question we're asking you before the break, Salim, is: are you going to go back depressed? What happens if NASA loses? Because there's so much at stake in this election, and you all, it's almost an all or nothing.
Yes.
What if NASA loses?
I'll tell you, Jeff, NASA will not lose. But even if it does lose fairly, I will not go back depressed. We have a new birth of freedom in this country that I'm astounded by. Jalas was saying, you've come back after 3.5 years. How come? What do you know about what's going on? And I knew a little bit, but what I've discovered is something truly astounding, and no one is talking about it and writing about it. There is a new birth of freedom here, where so many people are not just tied to what got me so depressed in 2013. I didn't leave because Raila lost. You win and you lose.
Right.
And when I say lost, let me, since I'm speaking, in quotes, lost. I don't believe he lost, but that's another matter. Huh? I left because how people were thinking at that time, that only your Kabila mattered. Good or bad didn't matter. And that is what is no longer the case. And I see here sort of the roots of a new freedom coming up. Because what has happened is that people have become aware of so many things because of the long period of deprivation. You know, adversity can make you think afresh, even though it can get you down. And that is what I see happening. We've had corruption since we started. You know that, huh? Getting worse and worse. But finally, it got to such a humongous state. And it was so public in these last 4 years. Public. No one cared to even hide it because it didn't matter. That finally people began to make a connection between corruption and the difficulties they were having. Basically, the cost of food, the cost of transport. People never felt so angry about corruption as they do now because they thought, what can you do about corruption? We've never prosecuted a single person, senior person, for corruption.
Right.
It's there, we can't help it. But that has changed. And with that change has come this new awareness that, my gosh, all these things are linked. And there is a group of people at the top who are robbing us blind. They do not care how we are suffering. And one of the things that's most interesting to me always has been Central Province. Even though I've supported Raila for so long, you have to remember that most of my friends are Kikuyu. I grew up in Nairobi.
Right.
From the day I was born. And Aya who taught us Kikuyu, you know, more than before we spoke Punjabi. So, and the most intense contradictions in Kenya are in Central Province. They are not in Nyanza, they are not in amongst the Luyas or the coast. It is people feeling the gap, vast gap between the rich and the poor. No one feels it more than the Kikuyu. And that is something that the Kikuyu elite has just not recognized. Because while we talk about Kikuyus dominating the country, etc., people forget that A, it is only the Kikuyu elite and other elites, but primarily the Kikuyu elite, which is the most powerful in this country. The people here are suffering and they're conscious of it. And they see the class distinctions. And the elite has to change. I mean, the Kikuyu are the largest group of people. They're the most powerful economically, financially, politically. They have to see the signs ahead that they must change because their own people are suffering and acutely conscious of it.
Tell me something, Salim. How important is turnout on election day?
101%. We've got to get, NASA has got to get everyone out. And that's well known. It's not something new. But as important as turnout is protecting the vote. Because we've had two terribly tainted elections. Whatever you believe about the outcome, forget about that. They were terrible. And, you know, when Raila says we need a free and fair election, what he means is this. Not that he, Raila Odinga, will decide whether the election was free and fair, because you can hardly allow one person or one group to decide it was free and fair. You have to have concrete evidence. The thing about Kenya being as open as we are and as transparent as we are is that you cannot hide serious rigging. In 2007, the whole country saw the numbers change at the last minute. It could not be hidden. Everybody knew there was a big problem here. The chairman, Kivir to himself, said, I don't know who really won. The chairman of the commission. In 2013, the electronic system broke down in the first hour. You saw different results being declared at the tallying center, at the constituency, so many variations. So you can't hide serious rigging. You can hide maybe a little bit here and there. So Kenyans will know at the end of the day whether there was rigging. It will not be quietly done.
Is that why it was important, or is that why you all have a tallying system next door in Tanzania?
You know, I'm not sure if that is the case. And I just told you a few minutes ago, I never lie. So when I say I'm not sure, I'm definitely not sure. I'm not sure we have a tallying center.
But you are the senior
communications director.
Yes.
Today, if you are asked about
tallying
center, you must have an answer. You can't say that you are not sure, Mr. Salim.
No, but first of all, I must tell you the truth. If I'm not sure, I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm sure because I'm the senior communication person. No, not at all. I mean, I really don't know. But in any event, you don't need to have it in another country, because now everything is up in the clouds.
That's what Baba said.
That's what he said, all in the moon, you know. You don't need it in the next country, number one. Number two, even if it is in the next country, or as he said in Germany or wherever, what's wrong with that? But that's secondary. The point is, we are going to have our own independent tallying operation, and the greatest gift to democracy in recent years has been the judgment that the results declared at the polling stations are final. That is just too big, because if you have sufficient resources, you can tally it yourself. You cannot declare who the winner is.
Right.
Obviously not.
But you can add it up.
Yeah, you just add it up.
Do you all have enough faith in the Chabukati, Chiloba team and the IEBC? Do you all have faith in them?
Well, let's put it this way. We want to have faith in them, but there are so many signs we have seen that worry us. Let me give you a simple example. They chose Al Ghurair to begin with. The competitor, not NASA, went to court, who lost the contract. And the court overturned the ruling, overturned the decision, said they were not the lowest. Okay. There was an appeal by IEBC. The appeal upheld the original decision. You cannot go with Al Ghurair. Next thing you know, using this competitive bidding process, they chose Al Ghurair again. Despite 2 court decisions, the third time they still went back to Al Ghurair under a competitive clause of the bidding process. Again, that was struck down by the procurement authority. 3 times struck down. They finally, claiming that there was a little time left now, they went a 4th time to single sourcing, and again Al Ghurair. Now, why this obsession with Al Ghurair? Is there no other printer in the world, we're not even talking about Kenya, who might have filled the job? And my main point is this: the responsibility of the IEBC is not only to conduct a free, fair and transparent election, is to conduct an election that is perceived to be free, fair, credible, etc. And when you keep going back to the same printer again and again, despite numerous court rulings, I don't think that inspires confidence that this is a legitimate decision and there's no other printer available in the world.
So you're going to say it's unfair if you lose, and you're going to blame?
No. I told you very clearly. We will say it's unfair when there is clear evidence that it's unfair. We're not just going to claim everything is fine and nothing, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, we will have to present evidence to the Kenya people. We're not that stupid just to stand up and say, oh, we lost, therefore it must be unfair. Not at all.
Wow. So when you're talking about tallying, you will tally presidential votes,
Yes.
both for Raila and Uhuru Muigai.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So you will know whether you've already won
Yes.
or you've already lost
Yes.
much earlier,
Correct.
and accept the results from your tallying center.
Absolutely right. That's why we're doing it. We will know if we have won or lost on our own. We don't need IEBC to tell us that you won or you lost.
But you
But as
remember,
long as there is nothing chinny going on, of course, yeah. If the let's look at it this way. If the electronic system breaks again on the morning of polling day, what will people think? You tell me. Let me turn the tables on you. I used to be a journalist too, interviewing people.
Once a journalist,
Come on.
go on.
No, I'm serious.
Yes,
This, I'm
if
not
it
just trying
breaks
to be
down
funny
on
or-
that morning.
Let's say if it breaks down that morning, and given what happened last time
Right.
and the previous time, what do you think many Kenyans, too many, yeah, maybe not all, huh? What do you think they will think?
They'll think one thing, there's rigging.
rigging.
Rigging,
It's
yeah.
been rigged.
Sure.
It's been rigged. So when we talk about a fair election, we don't mean we're going to decide whatever happens. If you lose, it's rigged. If you win, it's not rigged. No. We're talking about something very concrete.
Yeah.
And you cannot fool Kenyans. There's too much democracy here, too much freedom. It's just an incredible country.
Yeah.
It's so dynamic, so vibrant. Huh? If you look at the elections in other countries around, they're a joke. Ethiopia,
Yeah.
Uganda. I mean,
Rwanda, which is holding elections 4 days before us.
4
But
days.
There you are.
Salim, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
When you look at social media,
Yes.
and I'm sure you will monitor it very closely,
Yes.
and you see the hate meter rising almost daily. Is that worrying, or is that, people venting out what they feel?
Yeah. No, I mean, this thing is very sensitive. They show social media and hate speech. Yeah. I think we have to separate the notion of social media and hate speech, because not all of social media is hate speech.
Right.
And it is typical in the authoritarian regimes that you go after social media right away, using the excuse of hate speech, but just putting it all off. Huh? And there are some rumors around that maybe the internet will be turned off during the election. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Is that the answer to some hate speech that is on social media? No, it is not the answer. If that happens, you know there's another big blow against democracy in Kenya. That they turn down the internet. If the electronic system fails,
Right.
you know these things are serious. So we are praying. Raila is ready to lose. People don't know Raila well. I think they finally saw him, those who don't know him well, we are prepared to accept the loss. What did Raila Odinga do in 2013? Do you think he thought he had lost? Whether he had lost, let's forget whether he had or not.
Right.
Do you believe he and his supporters thought he had lost?
No,
Or did
he-
they think some votes were added to just make Uhuru? Huh? What did he do?
Went all the way to the Supreme Court.
Went to the Supreme Court. And what did he do after we were all stunned by first the Supreme Court saying we won't look at the dossier because it's 2 days late. And why was it late? Because IEBC would not give us the information we needed. So on a technicality, the Supreme Court dismissed our petition. They did not even read the judgment when they decided it. What did Raila do? Even without having heard the judgment, he said, I accept this. I don't agree with it, I accept it. What did he do in 2007? Some people were saying at the time, 1,000 have died. If 500 more die, Raila, you're going to be president. Raila said, no, I don't want to be president like that. And he asked the people, you must stop. Not that he'd ever told them to. Raila, let me tell you something I told the very senior ambassador just yesterday. We had a long meeting discussing this issue, the importance of a credible election.
Yeah.
Raila will not incite people to go and cause mayhem. He cares too much about this country, and he's too nice a person. Those who don't know him personally don't realize what a wonderful, caring person he is. People just don't know that because he's a great politician, and a lot of his support comes from the fact that they believe he can change things because he's got the strength.
Does he have the strength, Salim? I mean, sometimes, and campaigns can make you very exhausted
Yes,
sometimes.
you see the program
Yes.
left. I don't know even if Raila Baba will make it
Yeah,
to the end.
energy level.
The energy level is crazy.
This thing can drain you.
He has been doing this for at least 3 months. non-stop. He gets up very early in the morning and he gets to sleep very late at night. And of course he gets tired, but he's doing fine. What if there was any? Remember, he got sick in Mombasa.
Yes.
People thought maybe he was exhausted.
Yes.
Turned out it was
food
the fish he had
poisoning.
in.
Right.
Yeah. And he bounced back the next day. The doctor said, "Doc, please take it easy. You were sick." He bounced back the very next day and resumed his full. Yeah. So we're not worried.
You're not worried?
Not one little bit. That's not our worry at all.
Yeah.
That he won't make it. He's done it for so long. Yes.
Even at the debate the other day, obviously the lights were very powerful. But then he started complaining about the lights.
Yes.
They could not even see who Joe was and who Linus was.
Yes.
Yeah, they were both Joes.
Oh, yes. But actually explained why.
And when Baba calls you Joe,
You are Joe.
so if Baba calls Salim Joe,
Salim is Joe immediately. That is, he has been baptized.
immediately.
Yes.
But by the way,
Yes.
you saw how he explained that problem.
Yes.
How many of you have seen him talk about what he has lived through because of his beliefs and his sacrifices? Do you recall the last time he was complaining about what happened in detention?
Yeah. No.
He does not.
No.
He only did that because the lights were glaring and he has a very serious eye problem.
Yes.
He's had it for
And they make him
decades.
water, huh? They make the-
all the time. It's a very big problem for him. He never complains. And this is the other thing about Raila. Who amongst the leaders now has sacrificed for Kenya? Give me a name. Among the leaders who might be president. I don't mean amongst the
Right.
people who made so many
Of the lineup.
Give me one name of another leader who has sacrificed for Kenya.
Give us a name.
I'm looking. I'm searching. I don't see one.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
we had an incredible group of people and the children who were born after independence, yeah. Those guys are leaving the scene.
But tell me something, Salim. 74, 75 years old.
Yeah.
Does he still?
72.
Oh, he's 72?
He's 72.
Oh,
You really wanted to look, you had all that possible.
Does he still have that energy? Were he to win,
Yes.
does he have the energy to take this country the next 5 years?
Yes. Look, I'll be the last person who would say, yeah, for sure. Of course, I believe he has the energy. I've seen it. And it's not just the energy, physical energy, his mental energy is so much sharper than mine. It's just, it's hard to believe how much, you saw the mastery of facts and policy that he had in that debate. What he could talk about, things he could talk about, and best of it all was how he could communicate it to ordinary people using very simple language, So I have no worries on that front.
Yeah.
I see him day and out, in and out,
Salim, is this his last time? Is this his last attempt?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, it is his last attempt. He's not going to run again if he loses. But I don't have a sense that he will lose. I think NASA is well ahead.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's deep. Salim, you started writing a book a long time ago.
Yes.
And you promised us for years
Yes,
it was going to come out.
Yes.
How far is it?
Okay.
When is it coming out?
Okay. First, the good news, it's coming out at the end of 2018. Okay. And the good news indirectly, now that I planned it that way, is that it will be very current with this most interesting period of the last few years. It is the most interesting period of Kenya. Not just because of the politics. It's because, as I said, I see a new Kenya emerging. After years and decades of sort of going the other way, the wrong way. A new one is emerging, number one. Number two, this is such a profound period in our history because we've had two communities run this country for 55 years. And Jubilee's plan is to continue it for 70 years, meaning in 2022, if Uhuru wins now, it'll be Ruto, till 2032. Is that madness in a country with 43 tribes?
Well, now 44 because you guys have been included.
Well, I'm not sure that's that's a good thing. You want to get away from tribalism, not create more tribes and balkanize it some more.
Yes.
And also we can organize 40 of us. We can also form our tribe.
Tribe Kenya.
Yes, Tribe Kenya. or just me and you, and photo of our friends, we will receive a certificate. Team Jeff Angela.
Yes. Go on.
I forget what it was.
Okay, you were talking about the 70 years, two tribes.
Years of two tribes. I mean, it's sheer madness. You're going to disaffect the rest of the country.
Right.
And if anybody had any sense, they would say, we need a different approach. We cannot always be the ones who are running this place. It's just...
And the different approach is another tribe, is that it, or rotated?
No,
or?
I think, let's have a discussion. Let's have a national discussion on one of the most important issues in the country, which is balkanized, and which I believe is changing, though.
Yeah.
And that the discussion would be very productive at this time. And you could come up with rotational presidency.
Salim, you were there in 2007, 2008, when we almost totally descended into civil war.
Yes.
We were probably very close.
Yes, we were.
You were in the middle of it.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us one thing now we can learn from then to avoid that happening come August 8th or the 9th, if you will.
Well, it's...
How close did we come?
Oh, at that time? Oh, there were going to be two Kenyans. I tell you, I remember, I won't mention the name of the person, from a media house, who called me almost crying. I'm serious. Saying, Salim, we can't have this going on because no one is buying or watching our media west of Nakuru. Not a single sale. Raila must do something. And we found the perfect way of doing it. He wasn't going to come out in praise of that media group, but he was in Mombasa. I called him there. He was at the beach. He was sitting on a chair, lounge chair. I said, you read that newspaper, and somebody will come and take a picture of you reading that paper.
Right.
So,
Wow.
Because we wanted to stop this thing, despite our anger about so many things. Yeah, we wanted to stop that thing. And that one picture alone made a huge difference.
It did.
Yes, it did. It did.
Can we learn from 07, 08, Salim? Because again, we talk about the hate temperature rising right now.
Very fast.
Very fast. As we get closer and closer, 12 days and 12 nights left.
Yes.
Can we avoid that madness?
I'll tell you, I know we can. And it's so simple. Have a free, fair, credible, transparent election. You know, those who put peace before everything else, as if you can have peace and have an unfair, unfree, untransparent, uncredible election. You can't have that. It's just simple common sense. And yet if you say that, somebody will think, oh, you want violence, you want incitement. Not at all. I mean, it's so simple. Elections are supposed to be the precursors to peace, not the other way around. So we will have peace. If it's a fair election, we will have peace. There is no reason why we won't have peace. Kenyans are not violent people. Yeah, temperatures do rise. Fears rise. What's going to happen next, you know? Those in the opposition who feel we are so far ahead, we've got so many communities with us, suddenly they lose. It has to be free and fair. Similarly, those who are in power, their supporters, you think they're going to take it easily, kindly?
No.
No. So I hope, for the sake of Kenyans, that the difference will not be small, that one or the other side will win by a significant margin, so that there is no controversy.
So it has to be overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, overwhelming might be too strong a word, but
Okay.
it has to be significant.
Significant.
You know, yeah, like 7 or 8 points.
Right.
Yeah, if you've got 2 million more votes than the other side, then you know, if it's free and fair, that you won.
Yeah.
And that is the best thing that can happen.
And like you said earlier on, Salim, if your candidate, if your man loses, he will concede.
Oh, without any question. If he loses,
He concedes.
he concedes. Yeah, of course he does. Or he goes to court. I mean, in other, whatever. In other words, he is not going to tell people, I lost and now revolt. It just has to be a fair election. Just a fair election, and people will know if it's fair or not. It's not like he will decide if it's fair or fair.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have to have any fear on that score. Anybody who knows Baba knows that the last thing he will do is tell his people, revolt. I lost. How dare I have lost? He's not like that. He cares for Kenya. He's shown it. I mean, throughout his history, he's made so many sacrifices.
Salim, any regrets about leaving the leafy suburbs of Princeton, New Jersey?
Coming back to the jungle.
You know, I'll be very honest with you. I was not sure I would come. I mean it, yeah. No, I'm not. Why would I lie? But I'm really glad I did, because what I've seen is just overwhelming. I am just so thrilled at how young Kenyans in particular are thinking. I'm dumbfounded. I had no idea sitting over there, you know?
Yeah.
I am so pleased. It's the fabulous people here. Yeah, we've got a fabulous people.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud that I've been part of it.
Yes.
For this time.
Salim, we want some closing words from you. We have a couple of minutes left before we close. Your final thoughts going forward. 12 days and 12 nights to go before a very momentous and monumentous period in this country's history.
Yes.
Your thoughts. You're talking to millions of Kenyans right now.
Yes.
What do you tell them?
We tell them to first, please look at this election as one that will take us higher. Do not look at it merely in terms of winning or losing. You have your supporters. I mean, you support one group or the other, but don't let it end there. Think about the Kenya you want and how it is possible to have it. I want to give you a very simple analogy, Jeff. In 2008, no one in America thought the time was ripe for an African-American president. You know the place well. You know, people thought 20, 30, 40 years, maybe a woman, but not a black guy.
A woman before a black man, yes.
How did Barack Obama win? He won. We knew he was brilliant, but he won only because George Bush had dragged America down to the pits. And people were prepared then to look afresh at things. And this is what I see happening now. The Jubilee has taken Kenya so far down that people are prepared to look afresh. And there is a man who is equally articulate and equally brilliant, like Barack Obama was, Raila Amolo Odinga. So, with the grace of God, this will be an election that we'll all be very proud of, and we will have a new president or the same president back in power, and that's what we want to look at.
Don't forget, after Barack Obama came a crazy man who you all voted for, called Donald Trump.
Yes.
So,
absolutely right.
Yes, Senior Communications Director, spokesman for NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga, Salim Lone, live right here on Hot 96. Salim, all the very best.
Wow.
Great to see you.
Great to be with both of you here.
Good luck on August the 8th. And we look forward very much to reading that book. What's the title, by the way? Do you have a working title?
You know, I had a working title which might not be relevant anymore. When I first thought of the book in 2012, it was War and Peace in Kenya. And I feared at that time that unless we do things right, the divisions are just widening and widening between the vast majority and an elite which has been in power for 55 years.
Right.
They and their children, you know. But I am more optimistic now. As I said, it's been like a revelation to me.
Nice.
And I'm no longer sure that that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a big change in Kenya for the much better.
I can give you also a working title.
Go on, Charles.
Gone back stressed.
Going back stressed.
I tell you, even if you lose Stanley, I will not go back depressed, because we are in a new Kenya.
Okay.
It's the Hot Breakfast with Jeff and Jalango.